Hello viewers, today we are going to be cleaning and servicing essentially a Lakewood P223. This one happens to be branded JCPenny and is model 9794. I've already started on the process here. You can see the front guard is cleaned. I cleaned this with a power washer and it worked really well. So I'm probably going to go ahead and use that for the rest of the fan as well, but I wanted to get some before shots on the video here. It's not too terribly dirty, but the blade is, pretty dirty, and the rear guard has plenty of dust on it to go around, and there goes the screws from the front. But the motor's not too bad. I don't think this one was used all that much. A lot of people never clean these fans through the entire time that they own them. So there's a very good chance that this dust is all it's ever seen, and it had a relatively short usage time period from the previous owner. One thing I will note about this one, which is kind of unusual, is we have these little plastic feet, which I've never seen before. And the other unusual element here is the color scheme on the handle. This is the dark brown handle and the dark brown knob on the tan cabinet. So, that's really all there's to say about it. If you want to see it running, go over to the initial checkout video and you can see it run there. But it runs fine. The bearings are still pretty good and free despite probably never being oiled. So, I'm going to go ahead and take off the rear guard, remove the blade, remove the switch and the motor, and take everything out that's electronic, and then probably power wash everything and see how that works. So I'll take the rear grill off now, and the guards are terribly yellowed, and in this particular situation, actually, I think I have this thing charged up. In this particular situation, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get the cord out without breaking the slat. A lot of times I can just kind of finagle it through there, but this is so brittle I'm concerned it's going to break. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. We'll see what happens. Okay, that's the rear guard freed. And let me see what we can do with the cord here. I don't think this is going to go well. That's the one thing about these fans, it's really poorly designed, is having to do this with the cord to get it serviceable. Well, I did it without breaking anything. Now I'm thinking when I put this back together, I'm going to alter this ever so slightly and put this guard in the back and route the cord out here, because this is already broken. Because you're really pushing your luck getting the cord in and out of the slats like that. So we'll set this aside to go outside and be washed. Next thing we're going to do is try to pull the blade off. Yeah, it's really stuck on there. Alright, the blade is off. And the blade is not very yellow at all, at least not in comparison to the guards. So perhaps they're made out of a different plastic. They're also not brittle either. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of, I mean there's a lot of dust in there, but not as much as I've seen in other fans. So I think this wasn't used all that much, had a relatively light life. So that's always good. So now, let's continue removing this stuff. Pull the knob off. And I believe we can push the switch out of here. This is probably risky given how brittle the rest of the plastic is on this thing. And these tabs are plastic too. Okay, there's that. And now for the handle. Which is never easy. You know what? The handle's plastic. It can stay in there for the washing. Probably easier to clean it with it on the fan anyways. And these things are kind of getting brittle too. You gotta be careful when pulling those off. Okay. And this strain relief thingamajig here, I'm not too sure how this comes out. It's got to come out somehow. I think just got to kind of push it through with a hard edge. Okay, perhaps not. Alright, that's really proving to be a pain. Is this not zoomed out all the way? I wish that would zoom out more. Yeah, it's definitely got to come out from the other side. What are we going to do about that? If I can't get this off, then cleaning this is going to be really a pain. I'm going to get it off somehow. It's just a question of how long is it going to take. Well, I just realized all that effort was completely in vain because it's still not going to come out of the hole with this on the end of it. So, it looks like, if anything, I'm going to have to... What am I going to do about this? I think what I may have to do is just put the switch and the motor in a plastic bag and just pull it as far away from the fan as possible so it stays dry during cleaning, because I don't really want to take the wires out of the switch. That's kind of risky. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up the air compressor, and we use some compressed air to clean out the motor just to get the heavy dust collection out of it. This way when I open it up in the shop here, it's not going to make a mess of the table. And then I'll get the power washer set up, clean the guards, clean the blades. I'll try on the bottom first. I'm not sure how it's going to fare with the paint, but hopefully it cleans the cabinet nicely as well. And yeah, we'll go from there. So I guess we'll detach the motor now. It's the next step here. Figures. And the rivets on the other side, so I guess our only option is the wrench. And it's metric. And I don't have the right one. Unless this happens to be it. Aha, here we go. Of course this is too small to get in the... Okay, yeah, that'll work. This doesn't give you a whole lot of mechanical advantage. You know what? Probably should just clean it out before I take the motor out. Use the air compressor before I take the motor out. That'd make it easier. Okay, the motor has been cleaned, at least superficially anyways. Still have to go in there and clean it out a little better, but for now that'll keep a little bit of the dust down in here. So I'm going to remove this all the way now. And what I'm going to do, I have a bag here, and I'm going to put the motor and the speed regulator in here. And then we'll close this up, and I'll keep this as far away from the fan as I can, but at least this way if water sprays over towards it, it won't be an issue. So now I gotta go set up the pressure washer, and we'll get this all cleaned out. Alright, so done power washing it. Blade cleaned up very nicely. Got all the dust out of those little crevices and everything very easily. The center hub isn't perfect. It could have gotten better, but with the way everything is in here, it was just spraying water all over me and I got absolutely soaked. And it's not that warm out today, so I figured this is good enough. Not sure what that is. I can't seem to get it to come off without like scraping it off, so we'll do that in a minute. The guards cleaned up fine. Both are, I mean they're yellowed, but they're clean. The cabinet, we have a remaining price tag here which needs to come off. We'll take that off now. Would have been easier to take this off prior to getting wet, but that's irrelevant now. Okay, that just made a mess. Anyways, so yeah, the cabinet, there's some staining up here on the top. Not exactly sure what that is. Let's see if I can. That's not what I wanted. It doesn't really seem to come off. What I could try to do is use a light coating of brass polish, and sometimes that will take off stubborn bits like that. So let me move the camera up onto this stool here so you can see it from the top. And let's see if we can do that. I'm not too worried about getting this cosmetically flawless because this is a fan that I intend to use, but that is in a fairly obvious location, so let's see what we can do about that. Oh, I forgot to shake it. And that took it right off. So I'll spin this around and do that again on the other side. And it's also worth noting that, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but if you were to go over the entire cabinet with this, probably you'd get a shade or two lighter. But I'm not going to bother doing that right now. That stuff is really stubborn. I don't know what that was. Still like an outline of the stain here, and you got to be careful with this because this is essentially taking off a thin layer of the paint, and so if you do it too aggressively or too many times, you can damage the finish. I know there's all like a film of dirt in the bottom here. You know, I guess what I should have done is sprayed it down and then let it sit for a little while, because now that the water has been on here for a few minutes, the dirt is starting to come off. And And I've been warned about these stickers, the writing coming off, and I did heed my warning with that. The sticker is okay. So I'm gonna go get some water on here, and then I'll wash the top off because it's a water-based polish. Yeah, you can definitely see where I polished. So, whatever. It's clean enough for use. Oh, I missed a couple of those stains back there. I didn't realize there was more of them. Let's get that off. This is really hard to get off. I don't know what this stuff is, but it's a powerful staining agent. Okay. Some grass on here. Okay, that's that. Now the other thing I will look at closer detail is the blade here. Whoops. See if we can get this little junk off of there. Seems like we're going to be able to get it off of there. Good. Yeah, I think next time I'm definitely going to let it soak, because this stuff is coming off very easily, and if it had just sit for a few minutes it would have been close to 100%, but that's okay. Still experimental at this point, so we're learning as we go. Alright, that's that. I'm going to put this aside, and now let's service the motor. Okay, so this does appear to have remained completely dry. I don't see any water getting inside of here. So let's open this up and see what we have here. The motor is pretty grimy. We'll set that aside for next time. That worked very well. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to begin by getting some of the dirt off of the cord. The switch I did blow out with the compressed air, so that's all we're going to do for the switch. I don't want to... Looks like there's like a tape around the edge there, and I don't want to screw that up by getting it wet or something. So whatever remaining dust is on there, it's going to continue remaining. So you can see the back of the motor is pretty dirty, and it's got like a greasy kind of a feel to it. So, yeah, we'll split it open, put this down, and let's get this opened up and we'll clean out the bearings. Wipe off what I can of this on the outside before opening it up. And it's definitely some oil residue, which is good because it means it had oil in it. And I'm going to heed my warning about the sticker right here as well, and I'll just carefully clean around it. Alright, that's pretty much surpassed its useful lifespan here. Alright, that's good enough for now. We can wipe it down more once we get it open. Okay, that's not what I want to be happening. I want the stator to stay with the back of the motor. Oh, come on. Why is it doing that? You may have to do something else here. Oh, geez, that is not even budging. Okay, that's a little strange. I mean, fortunately the front's pretty clean, so that's not a concern, but how in the world am I going to clean the bearings if I can't get this split apart? I have to carefully feed the wire in through here as I pull it off. Okay. There we go. That I can work with. The shaft is actually clean enough that we don't have to do anything exotic to get it off. It's kind of a nice surprise. Usually that's not the case. Should slide right out. Yep, there we go. Alright, so You can see here that the motor is very dirty in there. I wonder if this is used in like a kitchen or something, because it's very sticky. It's that stupid sticky dust. And unfortunately, this sticky dust usually does not come off via compressed air. Hence the reason it's all still in here. But it definitely needs to come off because it will certainly restrict air through the motor, and we don't want that. Alright, that should be good enough for that. It's not spotless, but it's more than adequate to let the air move through there. Clean out what I can of the other side here. Really all that's important is that the vents are clear. As long as everything is clear and the air can move through it, it's adequate. And I think we are sufficiently at that point by now. So let's go ahead and clean out the bearings here. And just for purposes of ease, I'm going to go ahead and clean the rest of this off while it's open. There's definitely some powerful sticky something or other that was in the air when this fan was running, because it's all over the place. Okay. This is actually, the sun exposure was so severe, this white paint on the motor is actually yellowed as well as the guards. I wonder if this perhaps sat in a window or something for the majority of its life, even if it wasn't used very regularly. Either way, this is definitely one of the most severe yellowing cases I've ever seen. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's get the bearing cleaned out. And wipe the shaft down. Let's get a little bit of this dust off of here as well. And I think we are now ready to put the motor back together. I'm about to get the infamous blue 3-in-1 oil out. Here we go. 3-in-1 oil, non-detergent. Look at this. For fans. For blurry fans. So I'll start with putting the, I guess the front shaft, the front bearing first. Okay, and now put some oil on here. This This is kind of a weird motor. I've been told this is a standard motor, but I don't really think it is. The whole stator is just very odd, and it's unlike all the other ones that I've worked on in the past. Not that I've worked on every single kind of fan there is, but they weren't even remotely close to this. Alright, so now this is good. And this is probably becoming counterproductive to put it on here. So we'll do this. That's better. And I'm going to go wash my hands so I'm not constantly getting everything dirty again. Okay, now we will add some oil to the ports, or at least just the one in the back anyways, because it's hard to get to the shaft otherwise. In the front I'll just put the oil in here because we have the ability to do that. Okay, now let's get the screws in place. These have some of that sticky stuff on it as well. Oh no. Oh, okay, never mind. That's how it's supposed to be. It seems like this ought to fit in here. No, I guess it's just a hair too big. Oh well. Oh no. There we go, freak show. Always a freak show in the videos. This seems pretty good. Alright, let's get it back onto the fan. And perhaps the cabin is still a little bit wet. Oh dear, there's all grass up in the top. Yeah, it's still a little bit wet up there, but I'll run this for a while and it'll dry out pretty quickly. Okay, so and this is not wanting to cooperate. Oh, that's nothing unusual. No, man, did this get screwed up? That one must be messed up for some reason. And it's not really threading on there nicely. I guess that stud must be a little bit jacked up for whatever reason. Okay, let's tighten these all up. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's get our switch back in place here. Well, this may be interesting. Okay. And the knob, which I actually neglected to clean, I'll go clean this in the sink. Okay, the knob is cleaned. It's also very wet. We're having a ticker towel fiasco here. And here goes the screwdrivers. Good. Now, what do we do here with this crazy thing? I think we're going to try to do something different. I don't like how it's configured initially. So we have this guard, which has a hole in it. And I'm thinking what we can do is perhaps feed this wire through here, which feeds effortlessly. Oh no. And then somehow, because this doesn't actually go, well, it kind of does. Let's see here, perhaps we can route the cord through here. I think we'll do that. That should work fine. Yeah, we'll go with that. And I'll show what happened from the other side in a minute. Just got some of the screws in here. Okay. So what I did here is, instead of having the cord come out through the guard right here, well, let's get this twist out of here. That's probably not good. Okay. So now, since the guard is broken over here already, I've fed this through the side, and we'll put it out that way, right there. And that'll just keep it from having to, go through one of the non-broken slats every time I want to service it. Probably isn't the best situation I can think of, but it's better than what we had before. I think that'll work, because the guard, it kind of sits flush up against here, but not enough to the point where this can't just be there and it's not a problem. So anyways, we'll do that. That works for me. Let's get the blade on. And then we'll give it a quick test. Actually, before I put the blade on, let's put a little bit of oil on here. Oh, does this need to be aligned again? Okay. Is that not aligned? Or is this just going to be a stubborn pain in the rear? Perhaps it's a combination of both. Maybe this clip is too tight, I don't know. Something's not right here, it's way too tight. I'm going to move this clip towards the center a little bit, where it'll have less effect on the overall tightness. Oh, still not going on right. Well, you know what? I guess that's just how it's going to be. I got other things to do today, so this is whatever it is. Good. Alright, I'll get the front guards, or actually let's test it first to make sure there's no hassles or anything else that are going to occur here. Good. Okay, we are ready for the final checkout here after the servicing is complete. So I'm just going to move some of this stuff out of the way. And we will turn it on. Hopefully everything doesn't blow away. We'll start off on low. Plug it in. The cord's a little shorter now because of the weird thing I did in the back, but yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. Something's rattling a bit. I think it might have been that cord. Moving a nice breeze. Quiet. It's not shaking. It does have a good vibration to it though. Alright, medium. Out of air. Cut that off. The spin down time is good. And if I recall correctly, somebody had asked me to record the startup sound. At least I think it was with this fan. So we'll do that again. Although I thought I recorded it on the initial checkout, but perhaps I forgot. That's a possibility. And I gotta unplug the camera. Okay. Go start up on high first, and I'll go down to low. Okay, that was high. I gotta wait 50 years for this to spin down again, unless I can do that. There we go. Now medium. And I gotta do this again. And now low, which I think is my favorite on these fans. Okay. That's going to conclude the servicing and cleaning of this JCPenny, whatever the model number was, 9472117, who knows, 97 blurry. This is definitely more hassle than it's worth. 9794. Why?